Hello crafters and welcome back. My name is Deepa from DeeZinesByD and today I am showcasing the Spellbinders May quick and easy card kit called Spreading Happiness. Now I have 5 cards to share today and this kit is just full of joy, nice beautiful images, and they have tons of themes that I want to go through with you. So, as I mentioned, it's called Spreading Happiness, and the new kit, as you should know by now, because it is what we're almost getting halfway through the year, it comes in this cute little bag. You get the tape, the double sided tape, and foam squares, and I got this bag full of all of this great shaker pieces. I've got my die cut pieces. There are chipboard stickers. It's two-sided here, so you've got 2 pages. Then you've got 8 cards and envelopes. These are A2 sized, which work perfectly with these cardstock panels. So now before you used to get like a full sheet, now they cut them down into these A2 size pieces, which make them much easier to work with. You don't have to do that extra cutting. You can just attach it to your card base and work with it. You've got these puffy stickers with a bunch of sentiments. You've got another sheet with puffy stickers, and these can have a whole bunch of and signs or ampersands. Then you've got the instructional card and your pattern paper. So again, the pattern paper used to be in a pad. You're probably all familiar with this. If you're not, I'll go over it slightly again. It used to be in a pad, and I forget how many patterns you used to get, but you used to get 2 of each pattern. Well, now instead of getting 2 of each pattern, you get 1 of each of these sheets, and they're all different. So there's 20 different patterns here, and you can see they all work perfectly with the stickers, to the chipboard stickers, the shaker bits, and the die cut pieces. So these are all of the different pieces of this set today, and I really love those shaker bits. So what I like to do is just take out my die cut pieces and put them in this little butter tart container here. It's just a bigger area so I can kind of, sift through all the little die cuts and find what I want. So let's start off with card number 1. So this one is pretty simple. I found that little door, or the front door, and I just thought, let's make a scene with the front door and have it to do with family and being at home. So I've gone ahead and I've grabbed the little die cut pieces that I want to use that I felt worked well together. Now I've got 2 sheets of the pattern paper, and I'm using one of the card bases that's provided. And at first I did this, I thought I was going to do it in portrait orientation, and then realized that my die cuts are only going to fit on the card if I do it in landscape. So I turned it sideways. I've added the blue pattern paper to the top to simulate the sky, and then I'm going to add the green pattern paper on the bottom to kind of be like the ground. Now I'm actually going to cut it into sort of like a hill shape so that I can add it on here and it looks like mounds of grass. So I'll add that onto the bottom and then cut off the excess pieces here. Now I usually keep a little baggie. It's just like a smaller folder that you would put a stamp in. The clear little what would you call them? Clear little envelopes that you would put your stamps in. It's a smaller one, and I just keep all of the extra scrap pieces from my pattern paper in there so that I can use them up later on. So now I'll go ahead and add the front door. That's my main focal point there. And I'm just adding it with some glue. Now for these 2 fence bits, so the thing that I like with the die cuts is that if say you find one that you like and you want to use a second one for something else, or you want to use 2 on your card like I'm doing here, they come in doubles. So I've got 2 of this little picket fence, and I'm using some foam adhesive to attach this to the card. Now before I fully attach it, I've got the little flowers that I want to have, which you can tell the perspective on this card is completely off. My flowers are gigantic compared to the fence and the door, but that's okay. The card doesn't have to be in perspective. I just want the beautiful little elements to fit on there nicely. So I'm just putting these flowers behind the fence there. And I'll also do that on the fence that I'm going to put on the left hand side to kind of make it somewhat symmetrical, but the flowers are a little different. So I'll go ahead and add those there. And then what I do once I've got my die cuts on there, I'll go ahead and I'll look through my chipboard stickers and those puffy stickers to find sentiments that kind of go with this. So I'm going to open up the chipboard stickers and you can see that family sentiment right there. I think that would go perfectly. It goes with the house, family, you live in a house or in some type of dwelling, so that would work well. Then I went to the puffy stickers to see if something else works with this card. So what did I end up picking here? This is our story, which is perfect. So I did kind of put it on there a little slanted. I thought maybe I could put it somewhere else on the card. So I moved it a little further up there and then straightened it out a bit, and I felt that worked well. Now, if you want, you can jazz this up with some of your own. I usually like to use some clear gems and stuff, but for this one, I thought I'd dig into that embellishment pack because there are these nice clear iridescent sequins, and you can't really see them too much, but when you move the card in the light, you'll see it shine and it looks really nice. So I'll just add a few of these on there for a bit of interest and shine, and we'll put all those extra little shaker bits back in the bag. And that card is done. Now you can see on the fence there's two empty spaces. If you have extra stamps or something, you want to write something, you could put that in there too. So moving on to my second card. Now this is another theme with this card, and I find that there's the princess and the frog, or like the cute two little like frogs, and one is like the prince or something. So I went ahead with that story here. I'm taking this piece of pattern paper. I'm cutting it down to a little bit smaller than the A2 size card base. And I've got these essential ovals. Now, these just came out recently as part of the one of the releases by Spellbinders. And sorry, the Stylish Ovals collection, I think it was. So I'm just going to use those ovals to cut out the centerpiece here. And I'm going to turn this into a shaker card. So now that I've cut out my window, I've grabbed my acetate here. I'm going to cut a portion of this so that it's just a little bit larger than that opening that I've cut. And I actually like these ovals because it's just a different kind of opening. I'm used to cutting square or rectangle openings. This just has a different look to it and I like it. So I'm just going to add some adhesive around the edge of that frame, and I'll attach my acetate so that when I do attach this and I have my shaker bits, they're not going to go fall all over the place. Now I have one of the pink pieces of cardstock, and I like this cardstock because it's not totally pink. It has a little bit of a peachy or grapefruit tone to it. So this is one of the more different colors of cardstock. I would say that this this set, I mean, I buy the card kits not just for, you know, the fact that they come together easily. There are certain portions of it that I value. For example, I always value all of the shaker or embellishment bits. I keep those and I use them on all of my projects. The anytime that they have like a glitter alphabet or a glitter foam alphabet sticker set, I love to keep those and use those for other projects too because they're so versatile, especially when you're getting the glitter foam in, say, black. You can use that for any project. White, gold, any of those tones works perfectly. And in this case, the cardstock. Being in Canada, it's harder for me to find a large variation in cardstock colors. And to order that from the States, it would just impose heavy duties coming over the border. So it's kind of hard for me to get my hand on cardstocks, and I have to get them sparingly here and there so that the bulk of my packages aren't too heavy. So when I get card kits like this and I've got those nice colors of cardstocks, I've used it here, but I will totally keep the rest of that and use it sparingly because I love the color of this one. And I do have to mention that this card kit in particular it doesn't have the traditional colors that most of the card kits have. It has like a nice like mint green in it, which you don't always get. There's a nice deep blue, which you don't always get either. So I have to say that the card stocks in this kit are perfect for people who are from other countries like me who don't want to pay those duties charges. So I've gone ahead and I added my foam adhesive around the oval there. And what I like to do is create a pocket. So I've taken off all of the backing from just 3 sides. I've left one side still attached, and then I just scoop in my shaker bits with the scoopula. You'll probably notice that from science class. I think I have one from my lab days in university, so I just keep that, and I use that for my crafting needs. You probably have like a more suitable crafting scoop that you could use, but I just use this. It works just as well. So I put a fair bit of those shaker bits in there, and now I'm just shaking it like crazy to try to make sure that it's all kind of flat and not sticking up too much and stuck. Once I got that sorted, I went ahead and attached it to the card base. So I've got like a little bit of a white border around there so it fits nice and well. Now I'll go ahead and I'll add those cute little frogs. So you get like a frog with little bright eyelashes, which I would assume is the girl. And then you get another frog with like a little crown on his head, which I would assume is the male. And then you get these little lily pads as well. So I'm taking a couple of the lily pads and I'm going to situate these frogs on either side of that opening. As you can see, I didn't mention it, but I did put the castle in the background, and I just felt that this card was just perfect for those those nursery rhymes or fairy tales that your kids read, like The Princess and the Frog, but this is just two frogs. And I like to think of the story kind of like Shrek, if you've seen the movie Shrek. Instead of the princess kissing the frog and the frog becoming a human, maybe the princess became the frog to be with her prince frog. So now that I've got the little froggies on there, I went ahead and I looked through the rest of the die cuts, and there's a bunch of these little hearts. So I decided to add these on there too, between the two little frogs, to indicate that they're, in love with each other and they're going to live their happily ever after in their castle, just like Shrek and Fiona did. So I'm adding these to the actual acetate here, which is totally fine. We've got the castle in the background, all of those shaker bits. It just looks perfect. Now I've got to add my sentiment, and I've got the oh hello there, which is a nice cheeky greeting between the two frogs. And then I don't know if I added anything else here. I think I was looking. Oh, I think I took one of the banner bits and then I added the loved in the top right corner. So I moved this over to the left hand side. And then there's, oh, I think I grabbed oh yeah, this is perfect because it says so charming. So I put this one down there with the male frog, or no, the female frog, as in she's saying it about the male frog. And then I grabbed the little banner. Yeah, you see that green one there at the top says love. And I'll just place that there at the top, and the nice green color just kind of stands out on the pink, and everything goes together nicely. So this card is complete. We'll move on to card number 3. Now this one is a party card. So I saw all these cute little animals and a nice birthday cake along with this triangular banner here. I thought, okay, let's make a party theme with party themed card with all of these little animals just coming to the party. So I grabbed some of that nice minty type green pattern paper here. This just has some writing on it, and I've cut it down to size. I'm going to place it on that darker blue cardstock, but before I do, I love using my round edger here to kind of round out the edges and just create a little bit of a different looking card. Another thing I like to do, I've rounded all 4 edges, but sometimes it looks really cool if you just round the 2 diagonally opposite edges and then leave the other 2 corners. That gives it a different look and looks really cool as well. I think what I did here is I rounded out like all 3 corners, and I was like, oh shoot, I could have done that other design. But anyways, it looks good either way. It's just a different idea for you if you wanted to use that for one of your cards. I've gone ahead and I've attached the darker blue cardstock to my card base. I also had to cut the rounded corners on the card base to have that fit as well. If you wanted to, you could keep the card base square. It would still look okay like that. Sorry, not square, but at 90-degree angles. Now I've added the pattern paper, and now I just really have to kind of plan out and assemble my scene here. So I'm using some foam strips here. This is just, what I have on hand. When I'm, creating, well, back in the day, I mean, when I started doing this, a lot of my inspiration, maybe not for the card kits, because I know Yana doesn't really do the card kits too much, but just in her creating, I got used to using the foam adhesive and the foam bits because she does add a lot of dimension to her cards. And ever since then, I use a lot of foam. So I have my foam adhesive in tons of different sizes. You'll see I'm not using the one from the kit because I've always mentioned this. The foam squares from the kit are a lot larger. They're a lot thicker than the ones that you can buy. So I actually keep those and use them sparingly because they're just really nice. As for the rest of the foam that I'm using, I use maybe the thickness is like half the size of the foam squares that you get in the kit. I have the strips, I have the smaller squares, the larger squares, I have circles, I have clear squares if I'm using acetate. I just have a whole bunch of them that I use throughout my crafting. And I'm constantly, I think the two things that I buy the most are foam squares and tape adhesive. Okay, so moving on with my card, I've gone ahead, I've added that banner, I've added the cake. The cake is just flat there because it's kind of in the background. I've added that little yellow bird and put a little crown on its head to kind of indicate, this is the birthday bird. And I've got the little pink bird coming with a little package, which would be her gift. I've got a little mouse and a little car driving by to come to the party. And I did have another frog that I was going to add on here, but it didn't actually fit, so I chose not to put that there. I'm taking the puffy sticker hello and I'm adding that. And then I think I also add another little sub sentiment underneath there. Which one did I pick? So what I do is like I literally stare at my pieces here and then finally choose what I want to use. And as you can see, I chose Your Time to Shine. Now, to finish this card off, as I mentioned, I've got all of these clear gems that I add. Now, Spellbinders has their own clear gems available in the store. Now, those are, again, a hot commodity. It's something that I use sparingly, and when I want to just add a whole bunch of gems and not have to worry too much about, that I'm using the good ones, I use these gems. And these are actually nail art gems that I buy off of Amazon. I'll actually put a link in the description there if you wanted to have a look at those, but they're pretty standard, and they come in, what do we got here, about 10, actually 12 different sizes, which is nice. So I'll just add those on there, and there's a whole bunch there that last me like about a few months, and that's only because I use a lot of gems on my cards. So card number 4, this one I decided to use a repeating pattern here. I've got these 2 pieces of cardstock and I'm just going to cut about, I think they're 1 inch each. I'm cutting some strips here. So 1 inch wide strip, I've cut it about 3 times because I've got 2 pieces of pattern paper here. So I'm actually cutting both at the same time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line them up halfway down portrait orientation on my A2 sized card base. Now this just creates a bit of a different pattern. You'll notice for all my cards I just kind of have like the main rectangle in the center with a border around, so I wanted to change it up a little bit. I'm not always the best at doing those different funky designs on my card kit cards. I don't know, for me I don't always like those designs. It really depends. There's some that I find that I like this one, and then some of them are just not my cup of tea. But I mean, it really is up to you what you want to do and what you like. So I found this one and I really liked this design, so I thought I'd go ahead and use it here. That's what I tend to do. I'll look on Pinterest and stuff and I'll look for different designs that I like, or every now and then I'll just go with it and make up my own design. But for the most part, I do like to look at inspiration. Okay, so I didn't plan this properly. You'll notice I have like a tiny little sliver at the end. If I did plan it properly, I would have cut these a little smaller, and then I would have left a border around it. You see that little sliver of green on the right hand side would have been perfect to create a little bit of a border around it, but it's okay. We'll leave it as is. I adhered it and tried to remove it and couldn't do it, so it is what it is. So now I've added this blue piece of cardstock at the bottom, cut off the excess bits, and then I'm also going to cut some silver cardstock, just a strip. And I find that when you have pieces of pattern paper and cardstock that meet like this, adding this little strip of metallic or specialty cardstock, whether it's metallic, glitter, whatever it is, even if it's just like a plain black strip, it just gives it a nice finish and gives it that like finished look. So I've gone ahead and cut that off here, and I've got this little floral wreath here that's included in the die cut pieces, and I'm just going to add that just with some tape runner here. And I wanted to go ahead and use one of those puffy sticker ampersand signs. So I'm going to open this up and grab one of the ampersands that I think is going to work perfectly with this wreath here. And there's so many here. This is another piece I think is like a keeper. It's something that you can use for many different cards, and it'll last you a while because you don't really use too many ampersands, do you? Anyways, so I placed that little like plaid looking one in the center there. And then I'm going to add a couple sentiments up here to, you know, add around the and. So I want something and something. So I'm putting down here a puffy sticker that says, "You are adored." And then at the bottom, I'm going to put the loved puffy sticker sentiment there on the blue. Now, if I had planned this a little better, which I really didn't, I would have used maybe a darker color than that light blue because the loved is white. So it would have showed up better if maybe I used that peachy pink, but as I told you, I was conserving it, which I probably shouldn't have done. But in this case, it still looks okay. You can still see it on the blue, so it's all fine. Now I've got one of the chipboard stickers, the little flower that I'm going to add there for interest. And as always, I'm adding some more gems for shine. And as I mentioned before, I have the link there in the description. Now, for all of my videos, I tend to put a link to my blog in the description because I don't actually have the links to anything through Linkdeli. But you can go to my blog there and check all the products out there. And then I've also got a link straight to the Spellbinder store, which you can check out as well. So card number 5, I noticed there were a whole bunch of like confectionery items like the cake, the donuts. We've got some teacups there. And then there's also like a I'd never say this properly, a patisserie, but you know, the place that makes all of the nice sweet flaky buttery treats. Okay, so there's like a little store die cut image there, so I thought I'd put that on this card. I've cut another piece of pattern paper here. Well, actually, yeah, now I'm cutting it. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller than the A2 size card base. And then I've also got a circle there that I cut out of the dark blue cardstock. And that circle was cut with one of the older circle dies, the essential circles that have that little detailed, dotted border around the circle there, and it creates a nice frame and a focal point to put on the center of your card. And it breaks apart all of the extra busyness in the pattern paper so that you focus more on the die cuts you're putting down in the center without covering up the entire piece of pattern paper. So now I've added all of my little bits there. You can see the stores in the background, and I've got all of the little pastry bits and such in the front. And now I'm just looking for a sentiment. So I am going to add actually all of these bits and then have the store be the center. I'm going to prop that up with some foam so that you can see, this card is for that person with a sweet tooth, loves nice sweet cards, which are going to make you hungry. And recently I have been dieting on and off. I am trying to lose that baby weight. It just so stubborn and won't go. So this card is for those reckless days. And I chose the sentiment that says, live your best life. Just eat. Some days you just got to grab that donut and eat it, because who knows? You may not be here tomorrow. So enjoy today, right? I added a little puffy star asterisk up there at the top there, and that card's complete. So these are my 5 cards that I made with the May Quick and Easy Spreading Happiness card kit by Spellbinders. I hope you guys have been inspired with these cute little creations, and will check out the kit yourself. Now keep in mind the price point for this kit is much less now since it's been streamlined, so I would get this kit just simply for the cardstock, those shaker elements, and the puffy stickers. I hope you guys have enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out these products within the links in my description. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.